Hello there. Good evening. Good evening. Hello, how you doing? I want to start off by saying that I am a Bears fan, so bear down. So that's why I have on the Bears thing. So good evening, everyone. My name is Latoya Harris-Pickens, and I will be introducing to you "Cry, Cry, Cry," learning your baby's infant needs by their screams by me, as you can see. Hello, everyone. My name is Latoya Harris. Like I said before, I am an early childhood educator, and my presentation is on learning your baby needs by their screams. When your baby cries, that is their social emotional development that is being represented out of five domains of the child's developmental marks. Even though they're put together, emotional has its own area that involves the ability to recognize, understand, and manage one's own feelings and emotions. Sorry about that, you guys. Identifying your child's need based on their screams, their cry. This slide will describe to you the importance of responding to your baby need by their scream. Well, the importance of it. I have included an article on this slide written by a psychologist with a PhD in perennial psychiatry. After reading this article, you will be able to identify your baby's needs by their screams and the importance of responding to them and when to use the self soothing technique with your baby. Being able to identify your baby's needs by their crying helps your baby build trust with their caregiver. Also, being able to communicate when language skills develop stronger. Infants and toddlers will be able to control emotions in a learning environment as well. Family supports the child needs based on the scream of the cry. Sorry about that. By understanding your child's need by their screams, you can prioritize what is important as well as get support from family to help your infant with their needs based on the scream. Having support can help your baby get the love and attention that it is needed and deserved. Analyzation of your baby needs based on their cry. By analyzing your baby's needs by their screams, a lot of researchers, scientists, and philosophers have done their due diligence to try and figure out what is going on with our infants based on their cries. By this being their way of communication, the article that I provide will present different perspectives that they have found based on surveys and studies from different aspects that deal with babies. This article provides an in more depth look as to why infants, which we already know, they're trying to communicate to us. By applying their needs, you can make a very educational curriculum that suits the infant needs. Sorry about that. If you can get that, I'm sorry. Apply, evaluate, and execute a plan to address baby needs based on their screams. After addressing all things you can think of to soothe your infant, and you figure out what works and what doesn't, it is because you have identified what it is that's wrong with your baby based on their screams. For decades, mothers have tried their own mothering techniques and generational techniques. But if you can identify the cries, you can do a lot of good for your baby and help your baby adapt anywhere that they have to be for a period of time. You can get your baby the help they need if it is medical or just needing a soothing hug. Help, you can do it. This article that is provided on this slide tells you about different cries that your baby tells you about what is they need. Create a learning and engaging environment. After gathering things and applying what you have analyzed and evaluated throughout this presentation, you are ready to provide a safe, calm, enriched, and engaging environment to help support your infant's social emotional development. By providing an engaging learning environment, you can create an atmosphere to support all infants and toddlers to learn how to keep their emotions in place and how to be social towards others in the learning environment. I mean, it's just that simple. Once you sit there and figure out what it is that all kids need and want, you could be able to sit there and create an environment that can support anyone because you didn't sit there and observe, analyze, and figure out what it is that these kids need. And now you can do what you need to do as an early childhood education and do what it is to execute the plan. Conclusion. Now that you recognize and identify your infant toddler's need by their screams, you can classify and summarize what is needed. Now you can complete and sketch out a learning environment to adapt for the infant toddler's social emotional development. Infant and toddlers communicate to us their language, which is another development domain. Listen to your baby's screams, their cry, and do what is needed to support your infant and toddler so they can be comfortable in their learning environment. This is the work that I cited, where I got my information from, and what I did my due diligence from. So this is the end of my presentation. Now I will sit there and show you videos and articles that has supported my presentation as far as what I have gathered to give you the information that is needed. So for my first one, the article is The Importance of Responding to a Crying Baby. This is the one that I had on my first slide, and this is the one explaining like what it is that you need to do as far as addressing the baby's needs, the cries, and what it is that you can do and little techniques as far as for these new babies. I call these the new babies because these is not the babies from the generation that we're used to. I'm a 80s baby that's been born, which I was born in the 80s. And my children have been born in the 90s and 2000s, if that makes sense. Well, the thousands, if that makes sense. So, and now my babies have been born in this new generation. So I call these the new babies because my grandchildren fall on this spectrum too as well. So once again, these babies cry different than when I cry and when my children cry. They're letting you know what it is their needs and wants are based off their cries. They can't tell us through their language because that is developing as they get older and more mature. But once again, babies are letting you know how they feel. And babies are letting you know what it is with them by their cries. The next video I am going to present to you is Baby Cries.
Babies cry. And as a mama, it is so brutal.
I'm sorry.
But if you
Hold
think
on.
about it, crying is one of
I didn't want it to
main ways
play.
to communicate.
But the title of it is Baby Cries. What your baby is trying to tell you. And this is a video from the second slide that I had. And this is from Miss Genevieve. I'm sorry about that. This video is from Miss Genevieve Howland, and she is a childbirth educator and a breastfeeding advocate. And she made this video explaining about your baby infant's cries and what they're trying to tell you, which we already knew that our babies communicate to us through their screams.
Communicate with you. So wouldn't it be awesome if we could actually decipher their cries? Well, in this video, I'll teach you how you might be able to. Hi, I'm Genevieve Howland, author of the Mama Natural Week by Week Guide to Pregnancy and Childbirth, the only week by week pregnancy guide from a natural perspective. I'm also the creator of the Mama Natural Baby Care course. This gives you all the tools you need to thrive in your postpartum period. I'll have a link to that in the video description below. Now, taking care of a newborn is pretty straightforward, right? Or at least it should be. Baby cries and we come to the aid with a little love, a snuggle, maybe a breast to nurse or a fresh diaper. And I don't know about you, but I feel terrible if baby won't stop crying. But just know this, baby crying is actually normal. They are trying to tell you something. Now, usually babies cry for two reasons. They're either tired or hungry. But if feeding baby or rocking baby isn't working, they could be crying for different reasons. Wouldn't it be so cool if we could learn which cry is which? Well, luckily, a few baby experts have found certain sounds and body gestures can give us a clue as to what they actually need. Let's take a look at the 6 main reasons your baby is crying. 1, your baby is hungry. This is probably one of the top reasons for tears. A hunger cry tends to have a wah, wah, wah sound, but the big giveaway here is that your baby is rooting around for a breast or a bottle, or he puts his hands in his mouth. Now, soothing a hungry baby is pretty easy. You either offer the breast or a bottle and they'll stop crying. Another reason they could be crying is your baby is tired. Who doesn't want to have a good cry when we're downright exhausted? A tired baby may have a cry that comes and goes, or 2 short breaths followed by a long wail. You'll notice your baby blink a lot, they'll rub their eyes, they'll yawn, stare off into space, or kick their legs. Overtired babies are harder to settle, but you can employ all of your normal bedtime tricks here. Shushing, nursing, and rocking. 3, your baby is overstimulated. An overstimulated cry sounds a lot like a tired cry, long and hard, but the body language is what sets the two apart. An overstimulated baby may try to turn his head away from the commotion. You also see them flailing their legs and arms. So to soothe an overstimulated baby, remove yourself from whatever environment you're in, head upstairs, dim the lights, rock baby, do some shushing or sing softly to them. 4, something hurts. A painful cry comes without warning, and there is no mistaking it. It's a piercing cry that goes from 0 to 60 in a flash. For body language, your baby's body will be tense and rigid, and they probably have their legs pulled up to their chest. Of all of the cries, this one we want to soothe the most, but it's the hardest to fix. Now, how to really help your baby depends on what's causing the pain. If it's gas, for example, you could try bicycle legs, or bouncing him on your knees, or doing a little massage on his belly. Your baby is cold. The body language for a cold cry is easy to spot. Quivering lips, shivering a little bit, goosebumps, or cold hands and feet. You might even see a purplish tinge to their skin. Wrapping your baby in a blanket will do the trick, but of course, I love a little skin-on-skin time because it's so warming and soothing for baby. Speaking of warming, sometimes babies are crying because they're too hot. It's very easy for moms to overdress babies because they think they're so small and delicate, but babies can actually regulate their temperature pretty well. So take off a layer if you see rosy cheeks or if you find sweat on the back of their neck. So now that we've run through the 6 reasons why baby is crying, if you're still struggling to soothe baby, it might signal a deeper issue like colic, acid reflux, or GERD. If you suspect that that's the case, there are some natural remedies that can help. For example, gripe water, infant probiotics, and gas drops. Now, if you're breastfeeding, you also could look into drinking fennel tea or eliminating dairy from your diet. But really, it's always best to first talk with your child's pediatrician to get help for your baby. So just to recap, know that crying is normal, even though it's so hard to hear. It's just your baby's way of trying to communicate to you. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for more baby and natural pregnancy tips. Also, just a reminder, we have that baby care course that walks parents through the day in and day out of taking care of baby. It's been a phenomenal tool for new parents. I'll have a link in the video description below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.
And once again, that was Miss Genevieve Holland. And once again, she sat there and explained to you that there's not nothing wrong with your baby screaming and hollering, but it is a way that your baby is telling you something by screaming and hollering. Going back to my quote-unquote title, addressing cry baby, addressing your baby needs by their screams. So my next slide that we sat there and had, or what have you, was a lot of doctors and Chinese people and a lot of things going on. And these was people who sat there and did different things.
The body scanner reveals a brutal truth about your body that your regular scale will never tell you.
I'm sorry.
For weeks, my scale showed I wasn't losing weight despite diet and exercise. I was about to give up.
I'm sorry about that. Going back to my thing, once again, this was some people from the Chinese culture, a lot of Chinese doctors and everything, from the Chinese, Japanese, heritage that sat there and wanted to know what was going on with our kids. Now, in this article, a bunch of Chinese pediatricians discussed and did different studies with anaphylactic formations. They just did a lot of things, but when they did what they did after doing the scientific and doing the analytic and doing all the numbers and figuring out, they came to the same conclusion that children are sitting here giving you their needs based off their screams. They want you to listen to them. They're screaming, they're hollering. We want something. We want to do something. We want to tell you something. So they letting us know that, hey, they need us. And, hey, we're going to scream to the mountaintop to let you know, hey, we need your attention. These scientists, psychologists, therapists, they did a different perspective. And they came to the same conclusion that you and I, regular people, mothers, grandmothers, came to. When you hear that blood-curdling scream or you hear that scream, it's a need for the child. They're communicating to you and they're letting you know, hey, this is why we're crying. We want something from you. Please pay attention to us and listen to us. And, hey, address us. Now, in this one, this is an article that was done by a pediatric hospitalist named Dr. Shannon Desura, and also written by an author named Colleen D. Buffales. And she's from the French European descent. And in this article, these two ladies gave you 5 types of cries that you can identify. Now, they had similar cries to the first video with Dr. Genevieve. But what stood out to me was the sick cry. I never heard that. They said the sick cry is a unique cry and it described what was intriguing to me. So including this in my presentation, it mentions a cry with colic. And mind you, I confused it with a sick cry. But the sick cry is more of a longing, screaming, irritating cry to let you know I'm sick. I don't feel good. I don't want to do tummy time. I don't want to do anything. I'm tired. I don't want to be where I'm at. Like, please leave me alone. That's a sick cry. And once again, I'm an old mother. I was born in the 80s. And I had children in the 90s. Well, I had one in the 90s. And then I had the rest of them in the 2000s. 2000, 2002, and 2005. So I never heard these screams. I assumed just by the scream, as it a high pitch or whatever, that's what was going on. Anytime it was a scream I didn't recognize, I just took them to the doctor, and I automatically knew it was something wrong with them. As far as after I took them to the doctor, okay, mom, you did a great job. Is something going on with your child? This, that, and the third. But these new babies that's been born during the pandemic, retrospect, I'm gonna even go as far as to say 2019 to right now, they are different. I call them the new infants. And the reason why I call them the new infants, because they are new. They are different. They're coming through a different atmosphere. They're not coming through the ones that me and you are used to. They are letting you know that we are upset, we are angry, we are mad. They letting you know that we have emotions, social emotion, which is my video, what is presented on. They are developing, they are doing everything they need to do. These infants are really doing their thing, and they're not afraid to let you know what they're doing. So once again, when you figure out and adapt, analyze, identify, and get familiar to what's going on with our infants, then you can sit there and make a educational environment for the kids to adapt to, so they can sit there and develop their social and emotional skills more, as well as the other four domains that comes with their development, so they can be able to be productive in the learning environment, as you can see. I'm sorry about that, and I'm not advertising Neiman Marcus. Let me close that. I'm sorry I was talking. The last video I'm about to present is called Building Supporting Environment. And this video I'm going to sit there and play out, because after you then sat there and did everything you needed to do, once you have analyzed, evaluated, designed, created, applied, and just got everything figured out when it comes to your infant and your toddlers, now it's time to sit there and build a supportive environment, setting rules and expectations along with all the kids and following their domains, and just making sure that you're supporting everyone.
For children to feel safe and supported in an early childhood setting, they need to know both what to expect and what is expected of them. But how do you decide on the rules? And how do you clearly communicate your expectations to young children?
Our voices are quiet. Good job. We said crisscross applesauce.
Adults have to make sure they're letting kids know what they expect them to do and how they expect them to act. And if we're so ready to babble at kids to get them to learn to talk, then clap and cheer when a baby's trying to take steps, you would be that invested in getting across to kids what they need to know in order to behave in the way we want them to and expect them to.
Okay, then where do the blocks go? Where do we pile them up? Let's go put them away.
Well, I think it starts early, where I will say, okay, I'm going to pick up this, and then when this is put away, we can take out that. If we do this now, then we'll be able to do that later. And so they've seen me do it, and then as they become more capable of doing that, they want to help.
Avery has cracker sticks. She brought them from home. Some of the ways of letting them know what I expect is through positive reinforcement. That was nice of you to ask her, though. I love the way you're doing this. You're such a great helper. Gee, you're so thoughtful. Then they know, oh, I like that. And children want to please. They really do. When you respond to them in that way, you're setting the criteria for them to know that this is what we do. But you're just on the table and you can come back over here. How's that? Thank you, Claire. Once they realize that this isn't something I should be doing right now, they'll just look at me and they'll wait almost for me to say, should you be doing that? And they know, and they stop, and they stop doing it. So
No,
they're really
thank you.
self-regulating by
That's
looking at
my
me.
saying. I tell
Wait,
my babies,
because they
no
know
thank
they're
you.
going to get a response. The older they get, the more structure I see they like and they need, because
I
that's
also
how they
say,
make sense
are
in the
you
world,
okay?
really,
Is you
and their
cool?
environment.
That's just me. Is you cool?
Identify really what are your expectations, and then just to ask yourself why. Why is that the expectation? Is it age appropriate? Is it appropriate to what you know that kid's able to do? And then once you've thought of that, are those expectations realistic for the setting you're asking for them in?
In the infant toddler classroom, our
Going back to
behavioral
social and emotional,
expectations
you have to
are
make it
really based around
age
safety.
daily
Infants and
appropriate.
toddlers
You
climb.
cannot sit
That's what they
here
do at
and
this age.
present something
So we're
to a
teaching them,
child and don't make it
our
appropriate
table's
for them
not for
to
climbing
adapt
on and
to.
kind of redirecting them. If they're throwing a block, making sure we're providing materials in the classroom where they can throw something. So, blocks are for building, stacking, showing them, let's go use a ball if you want to throw.
The classroom environment is set up in a very purposeful, intentional way to foster as much independence as possible in my classroom. All of the materials that they need for mealtimes are in a special little shelf that's child height so that the children can set the tables. If they drop their cup, they know where to get another one. They don't need teacher support. They can do it on their own. We have a menu available so they know how many they can take, and they help each other with that for the younger children.
We post up a classroom expectations chart that we have in our block area, and every week we try to cover some of the different aspects of the classroom expectations. We also do a buddy system, so one child supports the next child to make good decisions.
So that's a great idea. So keep our legs inside. We noticed that some of the children hadn't been experienced with the slide. There were some accidents going on outside, so we talked about different rules for each area of the playground. Yes, Max.
First, we get up the stairs and we slide down to the slide.
Yes, so walk up the